There's a new pee-pee hoax. Remember the pee-pee dossier and that stuff? We'll get to that a little bit later, too. There's been some updates on that with the FBI lawyer. But there is a new pee-pee hoax. Let's get right to it. It does involve a P, as I said, and it's the post office. There it is. Wall Street Journal debunks the latest hoax, the Postal Service's good election advice. What is the hoax? Let me dig right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest hoax is that Trump is kneecapping the post office. That's an exact quote, by the way. I'll get to that in a second. Donald Trump is kneecapping the post office right before the election because, wait for it, because President Trump doesn't want votes to arrive because he's so terrified he's going to lose. So he's sabotaging the post office right before the election. Ladies and gentlemen, this is conspiracy theory type stuff. I don't even have an adequate counterpart. At least with some conspiracy theories, there's some element of truth to it that's then expounded upon into a series of later lies. There's no evidence this is true at all. You got the hoax? Just to be clear, because you're going to hear it all week now. Nancy Pelosi's calling Congress back in session to address the hoax. The hoax is that President Trump is sabotaging the post office before the election to make sure votes don't arrive on time. You don't believe me? Look at the greatest hoaxer of all, who is Barack Obama. Here's a quote by Barack Obama in the Wall Street Journal article. Barack Obama fed the political misinformation about the post office, political misinformation feedback loop on a podcast Friday by saying Trump is trying to, quote, actively kneecap the Postal Service. On Saturday morning, protesters followed the former president's lead and banged pots and pans outside Postmaster General Louis DeJoy's Washington, D.C. condo. Folks, I know you're deluged, drinking from a fire hose, constant dossier hoaxes, pee-pee hoaxes, collusion hoaxes, all the hoaxes about President. He's not mentally stable. 25th Amendment. President Trump is violating the Emoluments Clause. The litany of Trump hoaxes goes on and on. I don't have the time to address them all, and I don't want to waste your time. But this is how the Democrats work. You have the triumvirate of stupid. You have liberal politicians, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and the other hoaxsters out there, Barack Obama, noted, discredited liars, people with zero character and no spine at all. You then have the liberal media, no dignity, no character, no interest in facts at all. And you combine that with the whole celebrity crowd that have big followings, and a hoax that Trump is sabotaging the post office to mess with the election becomes reality. You don't believe me? That this is a hoax? That Trump is sabotaging the post office? I'll prove it to you using the liberal media's own sites. But before we get to that, on the Wall Street Journal piece, so you have a little background on what actually happened here. Here's screenshot number 2 from the Journal piece. News broke Friday, that the Postal Service has warned dozens of states via letters from U.S. Postal Service General Counsel Thomas Marshall that their deadlines for requesting and casting mail-in ballots are incongruous with the Postal Service's delivery standards. On cue, the Democrats and the press portrayed this as evidence of Trumpian sabotage and voter suppression. Oh my gosh, Trump suppressing the vote. In reality, it's closer to the opposite. An attempt by the Postal Service to forestall state election failure. In other words, they're warning the states, don't screw this up. The letters warning the states, hey, we need some time to handle these votes by mail. The letters were planned before the new Postmaster General, Louis DeJoy, took the reins on June 15th. Mr. Marshall, the Postal Service lawyer, sent a nearly identical advice to election officials in a May letter posted at USPS.com. Strange public conspiracy this is, huh? So you're going to hear this all week. Trump sabotaged the Postal Service. Although the Postal Service is the one warning the states, we need some time to process all your mail-in ballots. And the letters they've been sending, one, are on the U.S. Postal Service website. Strange way to run a conspiracy to advertise it on the Postal Service's own website. And another strange way to do it, considering the guy they allege was marshaling the scam, Trump's new Postmaster General, Louis DeJoy, that the letters and the exact same verbiage, or similar verbiage to be precise, was sent out before he even took the position. This is the weirdest conspiracy theory ever. It's kind of up there with the pee-pee stuff.
There you go.
Now, so again, Trump is supposedly sabotaging the Postal Service Because the post office is warning the states you're not giving us enough time to get the votes in? If you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. If Trump wanted to sabotage the election, Joe, just a quick question. Wouldn't you not warn the states via the Postal Service and let the election get screwed up? It's a simple question. I'm not messing with you, right?
Nah, easy peasy, man. Yeah,
easy.
Let it get screwed up.
If you want the post office to screw up the election like the alleged Trump's doing, then don't warn the states. Don't have the Postal Service send a warning. You've got to be so stupid to be a liberal today. You really do. You have to have a titanium-laden skull. Here, even worse, another screenshot from the Wall Street Journal. Here's the New York State. You know, New York, that bastion of conservative right-wing values. Of course, I'm just kidding. New York State, which is turning into a radical leftist state. It's my former home state. The 7-day deadline for this delivery of ballots via the post office is, quote, unrealistic. Who said that? That had to be Trump, right? Because he's trying to sabotage. No, that was Douglas Kellner, the co-chair of the New York State Board of Elections, who testified in court last month. The state board has argued for moving it back. The New York State Board has argued for moving it back to 14 days, in line with the Postal Service's suggestion of allowing 7 days for delivery of the ballot to the voter and then 7 days to get the ballot back. Is New York State co-chair of the New York State Board of Elections, Douglas Kellner, complicit in postal sabotage? So just to be clear, right? I know you want to, like, I get it. Like, it's so dumb. I know a lot, but folks, listen, I'm sorry. The liberals don't care about the truth. The media obviously doesn't care about the truth. And celebrities, many of them, not all of them, are really just stupid and they don't get it. So they read it in the Washington Post and they think it's fact, not understanding the Washington Post is a conspiracy blog. Trump is sabotaging the Postal Service. How? By warning? By telling the Postal Service to warn the states there's not enough time to process the ballots Trump is allegedly trying to suppress. This makes sense to you. If you're a liberal watching, this makes sense to you right now? Please, if it does, there are like those helplines for mental health assistance. Call it immediately. Stop the show. Stop, hit the pause button right now and go call, because you need serious mental health of a professional right now to evaluate you. The same advice was given by the liberal New York State, same election people. So the same thing Trump said, New York State said. But when Trump says that it's a conspiracy, I met a guy in Apex in North Carolina. He likes when I say, it's a conspiracy theory. That's his favorite. This is it. This is liberals. It's a conspiracy theory. Yeah. He loved it. He says, my favorite. I know some of you hate it. Whatever. Some people like, it's a conspiracy. This is it. This is a big Trump conspiracy to suppress the election that he's advertising to everyone on the Postal Service's website. Now, showing you how dumb celebrities are, here is the queen of dumb celebrities, Taylor Swift, who has been on the wrong side of just about everything, and my tweet back to her. So Taylor Swift, to her 75 trillion Twitter followers. And, people will believe this, so not my kids because, they're smart, but some people's kids will because they think Taylor Swift, is a very talented musician, by the way, knows anything about politics. She doesn't. Here she is in her tweet. Trump's calculated dismantling of the Postal Service proves one thing clearly. He is well aware that we do not want him as our president. He's chosen to blatantly cheat and put millions of Americans' lives at risk in an effort to hold on to power. So I tweeted back basically a whole bunch of stuff, and then I ended it off with, you don't know stuff. I used a different word. If
quit.
You're watching.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't know quit. Yes, as we use often as a fill-in for the word that rhymes with it. You got it. Thank you, Joe. No. True. Taylor, repeating the myth again that Trump is sabotaging the Postal Service by warning the states that you're going to have a problem with the elections. We need some time. And then he's sabotaging the Postal by giving the exact same advice New York State officials gave their own residents. If you're going to vote by mail, give the Postal Service 7 days to get you a ballot and then give them 7 days to get it back. Sounds like a weird way to sabotage the election, to advise people how to not sabotage the election. But if you're Taylor Swift and you're a dunce, a musical genius, real world dunce, you tweet that out to your 72 trillion followers because you're a dunce and you don't really care about being made a dunce because nobody will correct you with the kind of Twitter power you have. I will, but I only have 2 million followers. She has 75 trillion or whatever. Here's another dunce on Twitter. Again, formerly decent basketball player, but a dunce on Twitter nonetheless, Rex Chapman. Remember Rex Chapman? Yeah. No, not many people do. highly overrated, better basketball player than me nonetheless. So he tweets out, Burbank, California. In your entire life, have you ever seen a locked mailbox at the post office? Now you have. It's a disgrace and an immediate threat to American democracy, Joe. Shame on them. Shame on the GOP. Where are you, Mitch McConnell? And he tweets to him. This is dunce Rex Chapman, again, a once overrated basketball player, saying they're locking the mailboxes. Well, what's the problem with the photo of the locked mailboxes? Well, there's two problems. Number one, that photo is from 2016.
Oh.
Yeah. Obama was the president in 2016. So that's not even the worst problem. You're like, wait, come on. He's dumb enough to tweet out a photo to 2016 of a locked mailbox to blame it on Trump when it was Obama. How does it get dumber? Oh, it gets dumber. Do you know where I'm going? Paula doesn't even know where I'm going with this. What's the other part? So a woman was kind enough. I don't have the video because, I don't want to tell her, it's my video, whatever. A woman was kind enough to go out and video that actual location in front of the post office with the locked mailbox. And Joe, when you do this with your iPhone, your video camera,
Yeah.
when you turn around, the unlocked mailboxes are right on the other side where you actually drop the mail. They just don't use those anymore. So they use the ones literally when you turn around on the other side. But again, Rex Chapman, really good handle when he played basketball. Not too smart. Kind of a dunce. Folks, it gets worse. Of course, it always does. So the Democrats have proposed some bills, and why are they doing this? Okay, they're doing this because they want. Listen, I don't have any. My postman is a great guy, and so was a woman I dealt with when I lived at another house. They were really terrific, and I really mean, is that not a virtue signal? I don't like to knock people who work for a living. It's not them. Just like when I get into the arguments about the teachers' unions, once in a while I'll get an email from a teacher, which I understand. Why are you knocking a teacher? I'm not knocking the teachers. I'm not knocking the mailmen, the mailwomen out there who do their jobs, the people sorting the mail. You go to work every day. It's not your fault. However, people leading the post office in the past before Trump was in charge were morons. And they ran your agency into the ground. It's been billions of dollars in debt. What's really going on right now? Well, number one, the Democrats just like to invent pee-pee hoaxes, this time with the post office, because they know the media is too dumb and too malicious in many cases to report the truth. And they know people like Rex Chapman and Taylor Swift are too dumb, to understand the facts, and they'll tweet it out and make Trump look bad. So that's number one. They just want to make Trump look bad. They make stuff up, knowing idiots like Chapman and Taylor Swift will follow along with. You get it? But number two, they want to bail out for the Postal Service, which is not going to happen under Trump because President Trump needs to reform it so it can be self-sufficient, which it's not. It's not. And to the postal carriers out there and the people who are working hard, you're not going to have a job if the post office doesn't fix itself. The Democrats don't want that. They want what they want always. Government bailouts for states that can't manage themselves, for agencies. That's what this is. None of the bills the Democrats have proposed, by the way, for the bailouts, the bailout portions, have anything to do with voting. I thought the Democrats wanted to fix it. Nothing. They have a $3.5 billion bill for mail-in voting, which Trump doesn't want. For national mail-in voting. Trump doesn't want national mail-in voting because there's fraud everywhere it happens. But the bills to fix the Postal Service have nothing to do with mail-in voting.